excited. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. So, for those who don't know, I'm Shana Nys Dambrot. I'm an art critic here in LA, these many decades, and a friend of Blue Roof, etc. I've actually known you since before Blue Roof existed, so that's kind of cool. Time passes. So, among the many spheres in which Blue Roof operates in terms of that all come down to basically the idea of like giving women who need it space to make their art, right? In many different ways and for many different reasons. And so I was really pleased to be asked to be, we couldn't come up with the word. We went with liaison in the end because Malak needs no mentoring. I am not, no need to teach. I just want to like be LA's ambassador to you. So in service of that, we did a Zoom before she came. And it took about 5 minutes for us to figure out that both of us, in my work as an art critic, but I also wrote a novel, and it's based entirely in dreams. It's called Zen Psychosis. And so much of her work, from the poetry to the drawings, paintings, sculptures, everything, also originates in her dreams. And we both, oh my God, this is so exciting.
That was
and
exciting.
It was great, right?
Yeah.
So how today's going to go is a little bit, I'm going to just read like literally one chapter, like 90 seconds from my book, so you get a sense. My book is sort of Jungian, it's Rankian even. It's about using dreams to get to know myself. It's like messages from me to me. The way that you do it is so much more fantastic and magical even than that, which is like an open channel communication with your literal ancestors.
Yeah.
And that in turn is grounded not only in your personal spiritual orientation, but obviously the culture you come from. And so that's going to be our way in today. I'm going to read one page so you know where I'm coming from. You're going to read poems. Are these, I'm sorry that I didn't know before, written while you were here?
Or two of them I wrote while I'm here, one of them right before I got here.
Excellent. So perfect.
Yeah, literally on the plane when I was
on the plane here. I love that so much. Okay, so that's a whole other thing, your consciousness in transit. And on the other side of which then we'll do what we're really here to do, which is to talk about you and your work and your experience here at Blue Roof. And then there will be questions. You don't have to wait till the end. If it occurs to you, just go ahead. Except you, I don't trust you at all. So Zen Psychosis, a state of mind prevalent in industrialized Buddhist nations in which the spiritual religious directive to seek emptiness comes into direct contact with a public culture of hard work and constant sacrifice, and does not prioritize self-care, I would say. And so you're a citizen of a nation like that. How do you handle it? And people literally go a little bit mad from worry that they aren't empty enough. And I'm obsessed with this idea. And that's my book. Botany was not my best subject in school, and this plantation was making me nervous. It was under attack, and the animals had to be saved. Shiny black and green snakes were scooped up in 2 bags and loaded into my car. I told you it's the only chapter with snakes. God. I picked it for you.
Thank you.
I raced out of there at top speed, driving like crazy. The road became a roller coaster track, distorted blacktop curves with perfect yellow paint, and I took the wrong exit because it was the closest, but it was not the way home. The road went sharply uphill and culminated in a breaking wave made of shaved blue ice. At the top, the wave was a temple to Bacchus, fully attended by beautiful women, traced my skin with handfuls of ice. We were gathered around a metal obelisk embossed with strange glyphs, which was being used in some sort of ritual. A while later, we, being me and the trunk full of snakes, were back on the road, in the home stretch now of a long drive into the desert. The desert that in the movies always hides the secret research facility around the next bend in the Valley Road. There I found a long, low house at the end of a long, straight driveway. It gained its privacy not by walls or screens of rock, but by distance from the main road. Inside waiting for me was a scientist who had agreed to take the snakes from my care, as our own facility had been destroyed in the attack. I planned to leave right away, but I found this strange man charming and quickly fell in love with him. I rubbed his shoulders while he sat at the piano. He didn't play, but sitting there relaxed him. I conceived a child, and when it was born, it was my teenage sister. Her eyes were glowing blue like a Castaneda scout, and this worried me deeply. I ran from the house, not in fear, but in complete certainty that it was time to leave. From above, I watched myself take the long road on foot.
Wow, it's amazing. I haven't got to this part yet.
Yeah, you'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
And so that's why I got excited when she said she worked with her dreams. Thank you. And see how easy that was? Don't be nervous.
Yeah, for you.
No. I give you my power of not worrying about it.
I receive.
Okay.
Shall I go?
Yes.
Okay. This poem is also about snake. It's basically about my consumption of knowledge in a more odd way, or something else. Like, you can take it wherever you want to take it. I ache of joy like an outlandish serpent of Eden. Banished are the skin sheds into utterly naked freedom. The meat of an apple rather chose my bite, ripe and heart-purging, as the Platonic cave flooded the pores of my sight, nourishing each organ to the last drop. Peel off the shadows, the carved stones of faint perhapses, remold the ribs and follow the rabbit. Let the exploratory fingers run and penetrate an infinite bleeding orbit, gushing tremors of questions. Of bloodline, the fire only amputates with lavish tongues. A grandmother, a mother, a daughter, none.
Yeah, I love that. I love it so much.
Thank you.
Do you want to do one more before we talk, or do you want to read them throughout, or how do you feel?
Yeah, I don't mind
one
reading one more.
We all like one more.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
This one is called. Okay, this one is called The Unforgiven. It goes like this. I drink myself into otherness and hurl myself back into nothingness. An incessant mantra of self and unself, bitterly vanished on red bleeding clover and deliverance. Inhale, exhale, inhale, like flower shadows growing and shrinking on sun-tanned rays of hair. Greasy, yes, yet bursting godlike hair. This game, a hide-and-seek game, I tell you, is exhausting. To a pitiless mother, more than my name. An identity attic with no earth, with no clock, humbly fattens on stubborn flame. Empty-handed of belonging, I wait for the outside to whisper. Fields pregnant with lineage replicas and the inane. Grain-planted idols whistle in fluent air. Come, my darling, to the alien years of uprooting milk teeth and victory chairs. And I howl, oh, how I howled, like a hound utterly lost of its tail. Give me back my youth, my life force, give me back my rhythmic ether stare.
Oh, I like that. That's, yeah, girl. Okay, good. So now you see what we're dealing with here. Hello, welcome.
Hello, thank you.
So first of all, I love the part about replicated legacies, because I feel like that's the one thing that I'm allowed to have learned about the Druze practice, is that it's exceptionally specifically structurally grounded in reincarnation.
Yes.
It's not just like an idea that your soul has more than one incarnation. It's literally like the defining thing of the people.
Yeah, it's the foundation.
So each of you know that you are one of many in that way.
Yes.
And that
Yeah.
you'll be an ancestor to someone's, like, that's the path. And I love knowing that. I wish I could know more. I understand I can't. But good news, that one thing that we're allowed to know is very operational in your creative practice.
Yeah.
So I think that would be an amazing way to start. I know you dream, the poems, the images, the objects. It's not just one direction. It all feeds together. The poems appear in the images and objects. The objects themselves came out of dream images from the dream. And I think that would be a great way for you to start just speaking about what you do. Mm-hmm. And then on the other side of that, we'll get to what's happened here. Please introduce yourself properly to the people.
Yeah, first of all, hi, I'm Malak. I'm an artist from Israel, visual artist and poet. And my practice started it all started when I was a little kid. I started having a lot of dreams, nightmares, and it leans more on the nightmare kind of dreams. So I didn't have the chance or I didn't have the ability to articulate my dreams and my nightmares. So I started I cultivated a habit of more of sketching the dreams, and later in life I got the chance to also write my dreams down. So it actually started there. My artistic practice started way back when I was a kid, and it accompanied me up till this day. And the dreams are more like a threshold of, as you said, it's more of channeling and connecting with ancestors, channeling and connecting with past lives. Because my experience was very different. As a kid, I used to have a lot of flashbacks of myself. We were on a holiday, and my father did use the fireworks. He loved having fireworks. So while there was fireworks, I suddenly started to having flashbacks of past lives. And I was about 5 or 6 years old. And
did you know at the time?
No, I didn't know anything about it. And I started suddenly they heard me starting crying and screaming and hiding behind the table and screaming, "I want my kids back, give me my kids back." And my parents were startled at first, but then they realized what is happening, and they kind of told me, my father wanted to protect me, he didn't know any better back then, and he kind of told me not to speak about this anymore. It's not good for me. It's not it's better to keep it for myself. So I did. I kept it for myself, and I started having this connection and this kind of communication with that place, with that realm, in my dreams or in secret. So yeah, this is basically what I do in my work. I try to channel past life, but also the shadow of a past life, because it used to haunt me a lot. During my growing up, it haunted me a lot, and it was in my own face. It used to appear in dreams. It used to appear even in real life. I didn't know how to handle this, or to try to, I don't know, to communicate.
Well, I would imagine even if you did know, quote unquote, what was happening, it would have still been scary and intense.
Yeah, later
it's not this is just my past self communicating with me at random. No big deal. That's fine. It would still be quite unsettling and powerful, I would imagine.
It's quite intense.
And so young that you had to draw it instead of write it down.
Yeah, I just didn't know how to adjust it and to digest it and to adjust to it. So I kind of cultivated the journaling kind of practice too, and it kind of saved me in a way. It kind
And
of
so,
gave me a peaceful sanctuary to be there.
yeah,
like
and
a
safe
private
place.
Yeah, a safe place within myself. And it kind of like, in a way, it taught me to like get to know this darkness and shadow kind of self in more first like respectful kind of way, because it was frightening, but then like to see it like eye to eye and like accept it.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I find that very interesting because, as I mentioned, as a Jungian, like if you know anything about Jung, you know the word shadow work, and that idea that like we all have a shadow self, and that the goal of your lifetime is to more or less reconcile this version of you with that part of you, because it's already one, but you've divided in your psyche. And so even without that being a spiritual practice, it's already a kind of way of thinking about the psyche that I think everyone familiar with psychoanalysis has some kind of access to. But it's fascinating to me that that also belongs to a spiritual practice in your case as well. So within that, what was the point at which your art and writing stopped being your way of understanding what was happening and started being like what you were going to do with your life? Like, stop being private and start being extremely public about it as an artist and a writer.
When I actually when I started reading Jung, like
good old Carl, he never
it
disappoints.
started like 7 years ago, and I like just decided I don't want to be like focused on my own personal story, because there's a lot of people who goes through this, a lot of women, and like it doesn't have to be a Druze women like to necessarily be connected to other realms and to be connected like to the collective kind of energetical realm. So I started reading about Jung more and more, and like actually understanding the psychological layers and the psychological aspects of the whole thing. And I was curious. I was curious about how the human psyche works, and like it gave me a place to separate myself a bit from even myself and my culture, and to see it like in different cultures, but like being interpreted in different ways, because other people like connect with ghosts and spirits, and so it gave me also the privilege to get to know other people's backgrounds and like to approach it with respect and like a humble kind of way to understand other people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's really beautiful, because I do think that that's kind of the beauty of this kind of work, in whatever way you do it, is it's both extremely very much about yourself and extremely about the entire collective at the same time. Right? And so there's a whole, like, I almost feel like, we could do a whole studio tour that's just, what do these symbols mean to you? And then we could start over and go, what do these symbols mean in the nexus of Eastern and Western thinking about the nature of existence? And it's the same work. Right? I think that's kind of my happy place too, as you know, which is like, well done on matching us as a pair. But so now from the other side, where the individuation process seems to be going very well, everything seems to be kind of synthesizing back, and that is physically manifested in the work. So if we could turn to, these two examples, there's obviously your whole studio right there. If you haven't been in, there'll be a chance to go back in there. How, at this point, I would really love to know if you are still feeling like a kind of conduit, or if you're now asserting yourself in a story that you want to tell. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
Not yet, no.
Well, like, are you still kind of like, is it still kind of happening to you and you're drawing it and writing it down and then working? Or are you now like, I would like to use my powers to examine this specific issue facing, you know, young women or something? Like, how is it still kind of coming to you?
It goes both ways, because sometimes I do the channeling myself and like I just sit in meditation and just like try to be an open vessel to like receive a lot of information, and other times I just like observe and like it. I don't want to say like it's only spiritual or it's only in the body, because it also needs my intellectual mind to absorb. And I don't want to say like, I don't like to think of myself as a woo-woo kind of person. No, I want to ground these.
Me too. I know. It's very, you really have to, especially here, as you've probably discovered, you have to be really careful about that. Yeah.
So I love to ground a lot of like the things that I receive and the things that I deliberately try to channel. And sometimes my mind makes up stuff, and like I'm aware of that too. But like I love to ground everything with like the intellectual mind, which is writing, reading Jung, reading philosophers like Nietzsche, like people who actually question not only like themselves, but like everything around them, but mainly themselves. So what was the question?
Yeah, right? No, well, that doesn't matter what the question was. That was definitely the answer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm an art critic. And so, of course, I'm going to be like, okay, at a certain point, how does this make itself felt in what your work literally is? And I mean, like physically, as well as the image, the content of the imagery, but also like, how did you settle on the sort of metallic and earthy and, you know, graphite, you know, sort largely black and white earthy palette? How did it, why is it that? Because like, for example, Carl Jung himself, right? The Red Book is like kaleidoscopic. It's every color in mandalas, like colors you've never seen, you know, right? A maximalist aesthetic. So it's not automatic that the work would also have to look sort of meditative. So maybe talk a little bit about where that aesthetic came from for you.
I just feel so drawn to the black color. Like it makes me feel, it calms me down. I'm also drawn to like every black object, every black creature, like cats. They make me calm. They ground me. So about the color, I really love using. Like I really tried using colorful scheme and like to put. It didn't work. Like the work, I'm not that proud of the work. But also, I'm not sure if that's the question, but like the symbols and the work that I like, the figures that I love putting and like drawing in my work is some kind of symbolizing the like it can be a metaphor, like that,
like the snake.
The snake is a metaphor for knowledge, for women, for also like for femininity, and for also shedding like the identity, to be able to be open to other cultures or even to any other human, because we all were raised on the concept of us and them, and like there's I and there's the enemy, and if you're not one of us, then you're absolutely not welcome. So the snake for me is the symbol of actually questioning that belief and actually questioning where does it come from, but also like questioning everything else. And shedding, like not shedding my roots, but shedding the beliefs that keep me in a very limited way, like in a very limited space.
And
mentally.
knowing what to keep and what to shed.
Yes.
Right? Like
yes.
you have, that requires the intellect as well.
Yes.
To know, like, this is no longer serving me.
Yeah.
This I need to keep and deepen.
Yeah. And it actually symbolizes like the process of individuation.
Yes.
Like the becoming. I need like to kill a lot of, kill is a very hard word, but like I had to kill a lot of versions of myself to become who I am today. And it didn't happen in a soft way. It was really harsh and painful, physically and mentally. And I also talk about sexuality, like women exploring their sexuality and being able to know themselves sexually. And what is the limit? Like, what is the limit of you knowing yourself?
Well, and also, I mean, and this is why I love it. It's like the images are in some ways relatively simple, but there's room for like any conversation you want to have about anything in the work anyway, somehow. So, I mean, many of us have known and increasingly know that those two things are very much tied together. That, a woman having the ability to get to know herself sexually, a woman having the ability to literally say that fucking sentence out loud is a political act in certain contexts. Okay, forget actually doing it. Just having that thought is already problematic. And so if the goal of the society involves stopping women, and young women especially, from becoming fully themselves because it scares men, sorry, not sorry, then that is something that has to be addressed by women in that situation. Like, you can't pretend that's not the world. And so to me, I love very, very deeply how in your case you have tethered that struggle to these very ancient ways of making images, as though to prove that this has been going on for a while now. I'm trying so hard because they're lovely and they're here, you know what I mean? And like, these are allies. You guys are fine. But you guys out there in TV land, I'm letting you know that there's a reason that all those myths got lumped together, right? And Adam and Eve and Lilith before that, and just, there's a reason that and a way in which a lot of that power has been run through that narrative.
Yeah. And also I want to add, like, it's not only coming from the patriarchal kind of lens, it comes from like an ancestral, like it's an ongoing like gifting lineage from mother to daughter, from grandmother to daughter, like the identity of how you're supposed to be, what you are supposed to know. Because a lot of times it's coming for the matriarchal kind of like secrets that moves from like mother to daughter to niece to whatever.
No, and there's no doubt. And I think that it's a really ironically incredibly contemporary and modern sort of place to be working from. And I say ironically because your work itself is so visually and energetically grounded in things that are so ancient. And to me, the collision of those two, or the integration, I should say, of those two ways of being is just very magical to me.
Thank you.
It's kind of, I tell contemporary artists all the time that art history is their friend. That if they look at art history, they will find thousands of examples of fantastic human beings who ask themselves the same questions before you and left these things behind for you to pick up the trail from. And so what I love about you is that's still true, but it's not only art history. It's these other kinds of histories as well.
Thanks.
Yeah, good. So how did you find it being taken out of your very specific context in this mystical mountain village full of mermaids that I imagine you live in, and to come, you know, here, right? You told me you spent a lot of time walking around the neighborhood where you're staying, this West Adams, really interesting parts of LA. We dragged you out to a whole bunch of art stuff. The girls took you to poetry events.
Yeah.
Like, how have you found, being someone who's like so clued into what you're doing and what your art like is and what it's for, how has it been for you to be put in such a different context to be here?
First of all, like as a person, I'm very introverted, and also like my culture is very inward. Like they focus a lot about, it's a very rich culture and it's very like intellectual, and I'm actually very beyond appreciative and beyond like proud of being a Druze. But the still like the Druze culture is very protective of its roots. It's very inward. It's very like it goes on continuous like beliefs. And here, like when I came here, the culture is more extroverted. It's more like the individuation process and like expressing one's identity and being like to put yourself out there is more supported and more like cheered.
You're being so nice. Yes, we put ourselves out there as Americans.
So I was like, so like adjusting at first was a bit hard, and I must say that at Blue Roof, Galia, Brianna, and Sarah made it so much easier for me. They like were with me literally in everything, and like just suggested a lot of places and came with me to a lot of places and introduced me to a lot of artists and a lot of people. So I'm so grateful for that. Thank you. And the experience here was magical. Like, even though like it's very different from my culture and it's very different from where I'm coming from, even like in Israel, I kind of had the chance to experience both cultures at the same time, like both experiences at the same time, which was really nice.
Have you been able to dream here?
Yeah.
Excellent. Just checking, because you know it matters. It makes a difference.
Matters.
But I love that like everybody came with you in that way. That's fantastic.
Everybody came with me, but in different roles.
Right. Oh, that's interesting. And you know, which is the next question. And obviously, the proof is in the other room. You very much were able to work while you were here.
Yeah. I had a lot of time in the studio. I loved working in the studio. I'm like, I don't like to call myself an anxious person, but like many times I get anxious, and when I get anxious, I want to like move my hands. And the only thing that I love doing and moving my hands to is like art and making work done. So yeah, I had the chance to make a lot of work here. Not as much as I would love to, but I had the chance to make it happen. Yeah, I would love to come back, actually.
I'm sure you will.
So
I would. That's amazing. I love it. So first of all, speaking of not worrying about things, we've been talking for more than half an hour.
Oh, awesome.
I know. I told you it was going to be fun and you wouldn't be worried about it. What I think we should do is have you read your third poem and then open it up to questions. And then everyone who hasn't had a chance yet will go in your studio. Sound good?
Yep.
All right. Here we go.
Okay. This one is called Forest Child. The audacity of bare feet, unbridledly launching step after the other, propagated like crippled but determined sprigs. How you howl in drawn breath, throat suctioned with darting rocks, yet you resist not. Aren't you a meek one, burying your blushing face under the wisps of your scalp? soaked eyes of yours witnessing the baptism of the trees, its sweaty colors dancing in traditional circles around your breathing iris, like your ancestors used to frantically dance in your silent dreams. How vivid and saturated they grow with every spin, but immediately stripped of significance the moment they flee through the dusty mirrors of your head. Oh, the recklessness of writhing skin, indulging goosebumps into dense, nurturing soil. But you are finally satiated, like livestock in a slaughterhouse, fed and fattened only to be devoured.
Nice. Yeah, girl. Dusty mirrors of your head.
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay. Yes. Real
Yeah.
time.
Thank you both so much. This was wonderful. It was wonderful to think about your work through the poems, and it was wonderful to also think about it through the gateway that you opened with your text. Thank you both so much for that. And Malak, I was thinking about your poems, and I was wondering, which language do you use when you usually write them? You know, you mentioned how I asked Malak earlier in the studio about her dreams as well, and if something changed when she was here, because when you're in a new place, the dreams change as well. And I'm wondering if you can ask the same thing about your poems. So I guess I have two parts to my question, which is what language do you usually use when you write them, and if something changed because of your time here?
Well, initially my language is like seeing images and trying like to translate them into words, but the language that I go with is English. And English is something like it feels more like a private territory for me, where the people that I don't want them to understand what I'm talking about and like trying to express, they're not allowed to. And yeah.
I don't know why that's so funny and amazing and fantastic to me. Like, right? I think it's because English is one of those things that's like, it's embarrassing how dominant the English speaking world tries to make sure that everybody speaks English. Like, it feels very like, you know, but then to know that from your point of view, it's actually kind of a secret language is quite marvelous, actually.
Well,
right?
Later in life, it became also a bridge between Hebrew and Arabic.
So when you feature poetry in your exhibitions in Israel, you use English?
English. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're right, it is a bridge in Israel.
It is a bridge between Arabs and Jews and between like two languages. And I'm personally like, I feel like I'm in the middle, like politically speaking. So a lot of times I do translate like Hebrew to my Arab friends, because there are a lot of Arab friends who are like who don't speak the language very well, so I sometimes translate, or like the other way around, because like my Jewish friends a lot of times feel left out when like we have a conversation together, and like when I tell them you need to like say it in Hebrew, they don't know how to express themselves, like my Arab friends. So I try to.
Yeah.
And for me personally, sometimes I lose a lot of words in Hebrew and as well in Arabic, and I try like to put English and like I forget a lot of words even in English, like Arabic, English, and Hebrew. I put them in the same word, like sentences. I mix the three languages together.
Perfect.
But like,
I love that.
yeah,
Actually,
it's kind of bridging between. Yeah. Thank you.
That's a beautiful, and there's a lot of people in LA who do that with Spanish and English. And so it's a really beautiful, common, you know, and I think it's just, you know, it does what language needs to do, it communicates, but it has this extra dimension already within it. I love knowing that about you.
Within like art world context in Israel, the same way that here we have a lot of conversations about labels in English and Spanish.
Yeah.
In Israel, it would be Hebrew, Arabic, and English.
Yeah.
And how they get combined into the public space. So it's really interesting that it comes across in your work in that way.
It is. That's a great question. Thank you.
English is gender free.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right.
Makes a big difference.
Right.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Like from within English, we experience that as a kind of limitation. But when what you want is clarity, just like not even having to think about what gender a toaster is in what language you're trying to speak right now, because it doesn't matter in English, right? That's really interesting too.
Well, imagine also, ancestors are not only women.
Right.
I know.
It's a mixture. So expressing it in a language that doesn't have a gender is not.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of, yeah, like
Yeah, but
there's not
sometimes I do.
ghosters and ghostinas.
Sometimes I do make
There are
sure to put
ghosts.
like the feminine aspect in like my poems and my writings to emphasize that I'm
Yeah.
talking directly to the feminine kind of.
But I think poetry is also a beautiful place to put that, because when it's exists as poetry, everyone who hears it is very ready for it to be, to one side of expository prose, right? So, you're already kind of letting me know we're going to be having a more interesting relationship to words for the next little bit, right? And so I feel like it lends a kind of everyday poetry to just, and of course, getting to know you existing as that kind of nexus between people makes perfect sense to me.
Thanks.
That's super where you belong. Do you have anything you want to say, Galia?
Can you talk a little bit about the two images that are behind the process of making them, the meaning, the gesture, and the relationship between the play?
Oh yeah, the clay. How could I not? I'm the worst. Obviously, that's completely my fault. We should have been talking about the clay, because that is something that specifically happened here because of you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, please.
So in this one, there's a naked woman that her head is being swallowed by a snake. And you can see also that the snake is like swallowing her head while she's holding the snake's tail with her claws, because her feet are not like human-like, they're like claws. When I did this one, it's actually, and I also called it "Knowledge, You Dreadful Goddess." So for me, when I talked about sexuality, for me, sexuality is also with knowledge, like to get to know knowledge, to love it, to even like have this aspect of integrating with it and like being one with it. So it's kind of dangerous in a way, because it can swallow you up and it can like delete your whole being. But you cling on to it. Like you keep, as much as it can be painful, as much as it can be hard, and like it can erase you, like in a way.
So it's scary. It's scary and uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's not comfortable at all, and it is scary, but you cling to it. Like it doesn't make sense, but it makes a lot of sense at the same time.
I think growth happens when we go towards the uncomfortable.
Yeah.
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 And here, like the snake is actually facing the lungs. The lungs are a symbol of expressing yourself, of like releasing a lot of things. And for me, it felt like a mirror, like they are mirroring each other, and they can be enemies, they can be lovers, they can be oneself, they can be anything. But for me, it felt like a mirror and a way of expressing myself in a new kind of way.
Yeah. And I mean, lungs and breath, I mean, this is what I mean. Like there's endless doors. They just keep opening and opening and opening, because when I think of breath, I think of how that's actually what the word yoga means. right?
Yeah.
And so that's a physically grounded, spiritual, if not religious practice in which you get to know yourself and center yourself using your body, right?
Yeah.
And envisioning your body in various scenarios of connectivity to the earth. And then it's the breathing, right? Yoga, right? So that's interesting. But just like to speak, like these symbols are very specific to you, which is really powerful. And then they're also all have these capacities for these other dimensions for people to bring their understandings to your work as well, which I think is part of the power, is that it's not just you telling your story, which is already fascinating and would be, you know, okay, but like actually the whole time you're inviting people back in.
This is the whole, like, this is the main idea and the main purpose of it, like to let people feel like their own feelings and their own interpretations, like not to feed them with a spoon, like this is my story, take it, take my story. No, like I love to give people a space and a room, like to have their own selves with the piece and like to take it wherever they want to take it. And for the clay, this piece is like it's teeth, but also a crown. I've put candles, like 3 candles, and lit the candles inside the mouth. Like I also love working with the teeth as a symbol. It's, for me, teeth is more like the great mother. It can be very protective of her offsprings. It can be very like dangerous towards anyone who tries to come towards her children, but at the same time, when she's chaotic and she's not aware, and she can be also dangerous to herself and her children. So I work with teeth a lot as also like that you can be swallowed, like it can what is the word for being enticed, like enchanted,
oh, like bewitched.
To bewitched.
So like
you
to
can
come
be,
and get
to be bewitched by it and to like just jump deliberately into this kind of
which sounds amazing and terrifying, and that's the whole point. Everything worth doing is amazing and terrifying.
And I'm so also grateful for you, like to have the chance to work with Clay here, because she saw how anxious I was at first, and she knew that I was like, I need to put my hands into soil, and she just gave me like a clay back to work with. And
black clay,
because I wanted black clay.
Well, of course you did, and of course you had some, and perfect. She knows. There's some. Well, thank you, Beverly. No.
It's for all of us.
Really? Ooh, that is.
But you made it happen.
Yeah, but that's like witchcraft. Amazing. God, it just keeps getting deeper and deeper. Like, you guys want to stick around for like 3 more hours while we keep diving into this? Because I'm no. Oh, okay. Let's make sure we have every question asked, and then let's get a snack and also really visit the studio now armed with as much more insight as we are. I love you so much.
I love you too.
You're the best.
I want to give you a hug.
Okay. Thank you. Very beautiful. Well done.